heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
Well, we're way past big speech time. I want to thank you for the last few pods. It's been very special to me. Anybody have anything they want to say?
Just that the three of us functioning as a single unit is really something pretty great.
Like pistons?
Yeah.
Firing away?
Most people would kill to be treated like Eric Lane, even for just a few moments.
I feel like every episode of this, we're all just looking around and we're drawing up plays for each other. Kevin's a real Jimmy Chitwood of our group. He's going to make it.
Is it time for him to start playing ball?
Yeah. Come on, Kevin. Suit up.
Coach stays, I play. All right, we're talking Hoosiers this week on the pod.
These 6 individuals have made a choice to work, a choice to sacrifice, put themselves on the line, represent you, this high school. This is your team.
Hoosiers. They needed a second chance to finish first.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the championship game.
You're not the new coach.
Are you expecting somebody different?
Younger.
Most incredible and improbable confrontation.
Well, those of you who don't know, my name is Norman Dale. I coached college ball for 10 years, but it's been 12 years since I've blown this.
In the illustrious history of the Indiana High School basketball tournament.
That's a hell of a team you had there.
You knew that team?
I know everything there is to know about the greatest game ever invented.
With a pint size hardly big enough for 3 syllables, Hickory Huskers, enrollment 64.
Out of here. Right now.
You kicking me out?
Yes. Don't come back until you learn to keep your mouth shut and listen.
Take on the defending state champions, the Mighty Bears of South Bend Central.
Run you off the boards. You got to squeeze them back in the paint. Make them chuck it from the cheap seats.
Already calling this the game of the century.
I've seen them, the real sad ones. They sit around the rest of their lives talking about the glory days.
News people from all over the Midwest are here to witness Hoosierland's version of the Cinderella story.
It's got to work out this time. That's it for good.
The starting lineup for the Huskers.
Well, my boys only know basketball, farming, and school.
A basketball hero around here is treated like a god.
You know, most people would kill to be treated like a god just for a few moments. Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
Let's win this and for all the small schools who never had a chance to get here.
I love you guys.
Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, Dennis Hopper. Hoosiers. They needed a second chance to finish first.
Welcome to the Pod of Dreams. If you listen, we will pod. This week, we're talking Hoosiers. It's a movie that I've never seen before, so this was a cold watch for me. And I got some things to say about it.
You want to move to Indiana now?
Yeah. And I'm joined by Ben and Eric. Ben and Eric, how are you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Peachy keen.
Just dribbling in the dirt, shooting up, taking shots, practicing my game.
So, Eric, you've seen this movie before. What?
I have.
What was the circumstances?
So before our state tournament, I think I was in 6th grade, our state tournament championship game. My coach got us all together to watch Hoosiers. So I was 12, I think I was 12 years old, never seen it before. And we all sat around and watched it. And, it was like a pretty motivating, uplifting, because like I grew up in St. Paul and the team we played for was Griggs. It was just the street that the rec center was on. It wasn't some big, a rec organization. We didn't even have a gym. And we were just a bunch of ragtag kids.
You just say Hickory
It sounds
Huskers.
like District 5, Mighty Ducks, by the way.
It's what we were, man. I swear to God. And I think we were playing I don't know, it's like Tartan or something like that. One of those schools that has, big traveling organization. They do tryouts and shit. And that was our motivation. Watching Dennis Hopper get shit-faced and wander onto the court, wondering what that was all about.
and what happened?
Yeah,
to your team?
We won. We got first place.
Was the team taller and faster than you?
No.
Oh.
We were pretty good.
Oh, okay.
We were pretty good.
Did you guys have the best player in the state by far?
One of the guys on our
Eric
team.
Lane.
No, it was not me. His name was Kim Sarin, and he ended up playing for Georgetown. He's a great football player. Played for Cretin, won 2 state tournaments with Joe Mauer.
So he was a real stud.
Oh yeah, he was unbelievable. And his brother Liang was on our team. Guards were just dominating. I just did my part, grabbed some boards. I was like who's the guy that got stabbed in this movie?
Oh,
Dennis Hopper's son. I can't remember his name.
Son, yeah.
No. Oh yeah, he was the Hopper's son. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that got into the glass and got his arm cut. And needed
yeah, right. Got cut in the glass
because he was so pissed off about his dad. He's so embarrassed.
The trophy case,
checking dudes.
Yeah. Yep. That was more like me. Is that Everett? No.
I don't remember the name. They're all pretty interchangeable. I kind of remember Jimmy Chitwood because he was supposedly just
Jimmy
so awesome.
Chitwood. Strap was the praying guy.
A praying guy, yeah.
And Ollie was like the little guy that hits the free throws to win the one game.
Yeah, the granny style free throws. Yep.
Right. Yep. Everett Flatch. I'm looking it up now. That's his dad was Shooter Flatch. Hopper,
so you were checking dudes, grabbing boards, and dishing it to the skilled offensive players.
Yeah,
that was your job.
Kind of it. A little offensive rebounding, full post defense. Yeah.
Sometimes you'd wait by the hoop in case you got a pass and you were left open. Okay, I got it. That was
Did they ever run the picket fence for you? Were you ever the swinging gate on the picket fence?
No.
Okay.
How about you, Ben?
I saw it because it was a movie to see. I was weaned kind of on the 90s kid sports movies that basically ripped Hoosiers off. I mean, the plot to Hoosiers is almost verbatim the plot to Big Green, by the way, the soccer movie. Mighty Ducks is kind of the same plot. Almost. There's a couple differences here and there, but it's the ragtag, downtrodden kids who are brought together with a coach who has unorthodox means of doing stuff and gets them to believe, and they win the state title or district championship. I didn't ever see it in a sports context, and I thought it was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. And that was it. I mean, it didn't rank among the greatest sports movies of all time for me, but I liked it just fine. But what about you, Kevin? You had heard of the movie, obviously, but you'd never seen it.
I had heard about the movie and how legendary it was for being one of the greatest sports movies of all time. So around the same time was The Natural. I watched The Natural on VHS back in the day and on cable, and I liked The Natural. That was also a pretty famous sports movie. We just did Slapshot. That's another sports movie that I enjoyed. So I had pretty high hopes for this one, especially I think I watched like a ESPN documentary on it before I even watched the movie. I saw the documentary years ago. So I was expecting a lot. It did not live up to expectations.
Did it hit the shot, Kevin?
No, it did not hit the...
It clanked off the backboard?
It's a weirdly kind of dour movie. There's something about it's not as fun as, you think of it as this like underdog story, but it's really not like it's not a fun watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the setting because this is all muddy and fucking shitty Indiana. I don't know.
Well, that's the part about it I like the most, is it did feel like a shitty small town in 1951.
Yeah.
And everything felt appropriate and they got that vibe right. But it's a movie I did not think about too much. I found myself constantly trying to be like, try not to think about all the things you're thinking about. But go ahead, Kevin.
So I thought it was pretty interesting, though, that there wasn't any classes for the rankings of teams in Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's any
Yeah, it was
any
like a
school
double
could
A,
play,
triple A kind of thing. Yeah.
any school could play any other school. So a giant 2,800 attendance school like Muncie could play like a 64 student body of Hickory Huskers. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's that and that I always thought they were the Hoosiers. Why is this movie even called Hoosiers? Because Indiana's the Hoosier state?
That's correct.
You got it. If you said it in small town Iowa, you could call it Hawkeyes if you wanted. It'd be about the same thing. If you said it in small town Minnesota, you could call it Gophers. Isn't Minnesota the Gopher state?
But isn't like the University of Indiana they're the Hoosiers?
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Right.
anyone from Indiana is a Hoosier. That's their nickname.
And is a Hoosier a basketball player?
A lot of Hoosiers are basketball players.
What is a Hoosier?
A person from Indiana. You're a Hoosier if you were born and raised in Indiana, Eric, you would have been a Hoosier.
You're not an Indianan? You're a Hoosier, huh?
That's correct.
Correct.
It has no other meaning than that. Just a person from Indiana. Okay. Got it.
So the backstory of why it's called Hoosiers is because they needed funding for the movie, and they felt like if they called it something related to Indiana where they're filming it, that they can get more funding from the locals.
Okay, that checks out. I just didn't know why they weren't the Muncie or wherever. What town are they from? Hickory Hoosiers.
Hickory Hoosiers would make sense.
Yeah.
And they made it up to high school. They could have made it the Hoosiers. I don't know why they didn't do the Hickory Hoosiers.
Yeah. But I did some research, and this was based on a true story. The 1954 Milan team was a small school that beat a big Muncie team for the state championship. So there is some fact to this.
A little bit, mostly different though. The small school was really good. They went to the semifinals the year before, so they were favorites. They were like 19-2 the year before they
had Jimmy
won.
Chitwood on it. He was playing
so
that year.
There wasn't all this drama. They weren't like a random team that just became really good out of nowhere. But on that front, there's so much about the tactics and the coaching of this in this movie that I don't get. What is Gene Hackman doing that other coaches aren't? What makes him a good coach?
Conditioning makes him run. Just makes him
He's
run.
the only
constantly.
coach ever that's thought to make his players run and
makes
be
them
in
run
good
harder.
condition.
Yeah.
He's the only one that does the military side coaching.
His secret was having the best player in the state. That was his secret.
Even that guy, I didn't even see what made him so great. He didn't seem that dominant. Every game, Hickory didn't seem to come down to like the final shot. They didn't seem to dominate anybody.
Is he supposed to be like Larry Bird, basically?
Sure.
Something like that. Sure, yeah.
If you want. I kept losing the thread. Like, what are they just really great defensively? They don't.
It's hard.
They don't do
it's
fast
hard,
breaks.
Ben. Maybe you don't know about heart and momentum.
So the team that wins,
Your two
Jim
favorite
just has the
concepts.
most heart. It's not about speed and athleticism.
It's not about advanced stats and analytics. It's about heart and momentum.
So if we all have enough heart, we could go win an NBA
And hustle.
championship.
Yes, you
If we had
can.
enough momentum.
Did you not learn anything from this movie?
Apparently not. I'm saying like they seem to just go on this like hot streak where they win all these close games, and there's a lot of shoving and punching. It's very ridiculous.
Well, I want to go to the last. If you're going to talk strategy, I want to go to the last game.
Sure.
The championship game. The Muncie team is up by 4 points with a minute left, and there's no shot clock. But they, for some reason, decide to run a play. What were they thinking? What?
Yeah, I remember thinking that was pretty stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they didn't foul right away, right? And I'm like, why wouldn't you foul immediately?
Because they would run a play and turn it over, apparently.
Yeah.
That was wild. That was I thought that was unbelievable, but apparently that's how the Milan team won back in '54.
Maybe it's just not sporting.
Yeah, I don't know if Hackman was an X's and O's kind of coach. I think it was all just
a Thibodeau
motivation.
style.
Yeah, yelling, hitting his players. Apparently, didn't we learn that there was
that's
some
why
accusation
he wasn't allowed to coach at college anymore.
Yeah,
real hero of a guy. Hit his players and yelled at him. Real Bob Knight kind of coach.
Yeah.
Bob Knight won some national championships.
Sure did in Indiana. That's how you win, Ben. You didn't know that? It's not X's and O's. It's not analytics.
It's not about athleticism, but the whole thing is.
But Shooter, he knew the X's and O's.
But he was just too much of a raging alcoholic, though. Still thinking about that shot he missed in 33.
So that was the question. The lingering question I had is like, okay, so this is supposed to be in the 50s. Wasn't basketball invented in like the 1900s, like early 1900s, right?
Yeah.
Naismith. So it blossomed that huge as a sport that like, within 30, 40, 50 years, it's like people are just obsessed with it. It kind of blew my mind a little bit to think of it that way. Because like basketball in a small town here, it's not like that. In Minnesota, it's not. I don't know about in Iowa, but
no. But I guess the implication is that if you're a small town, it's easier to have a gym and play basketball than like football. And I don't know how big football was, right? But it doesn't take as many resources to do basketball as football or baseball even.
Just need a hoop.
Like, is it like that now in small town Indiana? Is they still obsessed with basketball? It's everything. Yes. The whole town gathers and they vote on who should be the head coach and all that.
That is correct.
Really? Actually, I think that's kind of cool. I thought that was my takeaway.
It's just like Friday Night Lights. It's just like football in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, about that, right? So, do we like this town? The town isn't ever painted in a particularly good light. They're obnoxious from the get-go. I don't know.
You root for the kids.
You do.
Kids seem all right.
Like seeing the townspeople be like, "Oh, you guys are kind of obnoxious."
Well, that's all they have is this ball game, is basketball.
I guess.
I mean, living through right now, like sports parents, they're all pretty obnoxious. I mean, honestly, like even at the youth level, there's almost all the parents are terrible.
But then I don't root for those people. I understand you want the kids to see, but at a certain level, it's like, screw, those parents are obnoxious. I don't want success for them. I don't know. And like the guy who I don't know, was he in Slapshot? The guy who he leads the first practice before he gets kicked out. That actor.
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, he's in Rudy, and the Rudy was directed by the same guy. Apparently, like schmaltzy sports movies were his thing. I don't know.
From Indiana. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. He was like annoying. He tried to oust the guy, and then they're just like snickering and getting in his face. And I don't know. I was like, these people are kind of annoying.
But they were won over by winning. Winning cures all.
Well, that's true. That's kind of, I guess, depressing. And they win because the best player decided to play. I don't know. Do we know what sold Jimmy on playing for Gene Hackman?
His heart.
I think it was probably playing with four guys.
I think that was it.
Because wasn't Jimmy in the stands? Wasn't he watching that game? And that he had the balls to say, like, you didn't do what I said, you're not playing.
Like, team's on the court.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a strong leader I can get behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's a psychotic move and like absolutely should get him fired for telling a guy to not shoot and then benching him and only playing with four players. Like insane in a high school game.
You're siding with the townsfolk on this one.
He should have been fired immediately. Yes. Dude's out there just raining threes or twos, I guess, because they didn't have 3 pointers.
Yeah, no 3-point line yet. Yeah.
Hitting every shot, and the dude takes him out and benches him for shooting.
Well,
insane.
He was supposed to pass 4 times and then shoot.
Oh, that alone. Okay, that alone drove me fucking batty. You're gonna play a high school game and you're gonna make the fucking guys pass 4 times before they shoot. Insane. At the youth level, like my daughter's team, they do that when they're up by 20 to like not blow out a team more. They do. Okay, now you got to do 4 or 5 passes. Like you don't do that to start a fucking high school game. Insane. Should be fired immediately. He should have been escorted off.
I wanted him to take it further. I wanted the guy to have like a wide open layup, and he's only got like his one pass. He like gets a pick and roll or something, and like he gets in trouble for making a wide open layup. I wanted him to be more extreme with how psychotic he is. Yeah, it's bizarre, but he starts to say, "Hey, they're starting to get it. It's really fun." I didn't really ever get the sense that they were getting it. Are they better at passing? Are they better at defense? What are they getting better at? I never had any meaningful sense of progression of what skills they got better at. Generating more turnovers, rebound. It drove me nuts. What are they getting better at?
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like defense. Defense is the most important thing. He didn't hammer that home or ball movement. You got to pass the ball. Like that wasn't even part of it. It was just, nobody shooting until we pass it 4 times, which is like, again, something you do at like 5th grade. What end?
Yeah, I mean, right. It was bizarre. I would have liked it better if he's like, we're smaller, we're not as much depth, we're going to play the toughest defense in the state. We're going to be the best defensive team. They're like, okay, that's what they're doing. That's their identity. Is they're going to play tough defense and win low scoring, scrappy games. I'm like, okay, I get what he's trying to do, but I didn't get any sense of that. It's like, they just start winning these close games.
You don't get a sense of his coaching philosophy.
Right. It drove me nuts.
We're a zone defense town.
Oh, I guess he's strict man-to-man. That's the one coaching philosophy we have. Strict man-to-man.
So we can't do both? We can't alternate based on what strategy you want to employ? No. We can only do one style only? Okay. I'd like it better if he's like, if he even said, we're going to do man-to-man, you're going to be super tough. Like, and another thing, so the 2 guys leave, right, in the first practice because they give him a little attitude and he's like, get out of here. We see the one guy come back with his dad. When does the other guy come back? He does, but we don't see it.
I think it's a deleted scene. It ended up being deleted.
Because there's only the 7 guys, right? Does he come back?
Yeah, he comes back.
Yeah, he's a key character. He's like, hey, buddy, slow down the eye. He talks to him. It's that guy.
Oh.
I want you to stay on your man. I want you to know what his favorite chewing gum is or whatever. Like, that's him. He comes back.
Dentine.
Yeah, sure. Like, but yeah, we don't forget. It's like, didn't that guy need to have a scene where he came back and apologized? How did he get on the same page? We don't know. Just he's there and he's on board. It
was cut.
That's a sloppy mistake that shouldn't have happened.
They didn't need to have both get 2 scenes of the same. Like,
correct. So just have the one guy leave, have the other guy stay, and then that other guy has to apologize.
But he's no gizzard. I ain't no gizzard.
Whatever that means. I gotta have what was the age gap between Gene Hackman and the
Barbara Hershey?
Yeah.
Well, Barbara Hershey was 38 during filming or when it was released. So
maybe it's less bad, but he was in his 50s at least.
Yeah. Well, the implication was
Wasn't
that
Hackman
he was
like perpetually 60 years old? Like, was he ever younger than that?
Yeah, even in like French Connection, he seemed
right. Yeah, he was 60 then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was supposed to just be some like, she lived at home and never married and like doing farm work. Was she supposed to be 20 or early 20s?
I think she was supposed to be in her late 30s. At least then it wouldn't be as creepy.
Yeah, 38's better than I thought. At least. But still kind of I kept saying, so it's got to be said. There are no black characters in the movie, right? It's a basketball movie.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, on the team they play.
Except at the very end, on the team with the 6'4" and 6'5" dudes. Yeah. The first black people who said, I kept imagining a different movie where the Hickory Huskers were the villains because they wouldn't play. because they were racist and wouldn't play with black people. I just kept thinking that the whole time. It goes uncommented on, which I guess is a strength of the movie, maybe. But I just kept thinking, like, these could easily be the villains in a different movie.
They weren't racist in any way. Is that
No, they
did
weren't.
I miss that?
No, they weren't. No,
Yeah,
my point is
okay.
they weren't, but they could have. Like, I think there was probably a lot of racist white people in Indiana in the mid
No, never.
1950s in a small town. I mean, that's probably like the first black people some of those folks had ever seen, I would guess. Anyway, it didn't comment on it, but I kept imagining if this were a different movie.
Well, when I know, like, weren't the Gophers in Iowa one of the first college football programs that had black players?
Yeah, that's why we won so many national championships.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know the time. Is that's the 40s, right?
Yeah.
When they did, I mean, so this is probably like, yeah, one's Brown versus Boer. This is probably like right around, segregation and all that. So
that's before.
I guess
yeah.
I mean, but you're right. That's before. I don't know.
Segregation is still very much a thing in the 1950s. It's at least in huge chunks of the U.S. I guess I can't speak to Indiana.
Right. Would they have even been allowed to play?
Right. I was just thinking about
I guess
that.
Is
like
a good question.
I also kept imagining a movie where like a really tall, athletic black kid moves to town, and it's like they have this moral dilemma: do we let him play? He'll help us win, but we've got to deal with our racial biases. I don't know. I kept thinking about that because it's not commented on in the movie at all. We just hear how they have like the tallest players in the state.
When they play, they're like, "Oh, these guys are real basketball players." They're like,
right.
"Oh, okay, yeah, all right. We're out here fucking peach baskets. These guys are like real basketball players."
Yeah.
I think the racial makeup of the Muncie team was similar to the team that was beat in '54.
Yeah, would you think there would be a lot of non-white people in that little town in Indiana? Probably not.
No, there wouldn't. Right. I'm sure it was very white in 1951.
Probably how it still is.
Sure. I just that's something I kept thinking about, and I also kept thinking about how much basketball has changed, like since 1950. Like the tall guys were 6'4". Like, they're like 6'10" motherfuckers out there just terrorizing the court. 7-footers, right? Like 6'4" isn't even really that tall.
You got Eric Lane, who's towering 6'5". He would have been.
Yeah. Oh, you could have ruled. You could have.
I would have thrived in the 50s.
Oh yeah.
I was born 30 years too late.
You would have been the Jimmy. We got to get this guy to stop bailing hell. We need him to play ball.
I don't think I would have done well with Gene Hackman as my coach. I'd have been the guy that quit. I'd have been like, fuck this guy.
Vibes does not pass the vibe check. I'm out.
You want us to just run and not touch a basketball?
Yeah,
Nope.
Well, that brings up Gene Hackman. I mean, we didn't talk about him very much in their last movie, Superman, but this is probably his best known role, I'm guessing.
One of them, yeah, for sure. Well, he won an Oscar for French Connection.
Yeah, I mean that's his best movie overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably depends on how old you are and what. I mean, I think if you saw him in the 70s.
How many times did he play a coach? I mean, there's the replacements, right? Which is, is it the only 2 times? Seems like he was always this guy.
Well, he's always this personality.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like a standard Gene Hackman performance. I didn't.
But a standard Gene Hackman performance is still elevates a movie, I think.
Oh, sure. No, I agree. He's not like a pro. It's not like The Program where James Caan was like the biggest issue with that movie was James Caan giving a confusing, bored performance. This wasn't that, but it's also kind of inscrutable. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't amazing. He's just kind of short with everybody all the time. But yeah, no, it's still, I mean, a mid-level Hackman is still a very high-level performance overall. I agree. but I also don't know if
But
I
like
would rank this
the
as my
way he
favorite.
was in the conversation versus the way he is. I mean, he's doing some acting, right?
In the conversation.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like if you compare
conversation is a billion times
the way
better
his
performance.
character in that movie versus Coach in this movie.
That and French Connection, another one where I think it's just a lot more interesting performance. It's kind of on par with Lex Luthor to me. I mean, he's doing Lex Luthor as this smug guy, but I don't know that I put Lex Luthor as my favorite Hackman performances. But it's fine. I mean, he's at the center.
I think as Lex Luthor, he was just having fun. This didn't seem like a ton of fun.
No, he hit the beats. We got through the movie. He thought this was going to be a career killer, apparently, because it was relatively small budget and it was not a big Hollywood
working
production
on this movie.
Really? He has an interesting home life, right? I saw some interview that was popping around online that was like dad ran away when he was young. It sounds like he had kind of wasn't he in the military too?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was going through a divorce when they were making this movie.
Seems like a guy that's been divorced a handful of times. Boy, the more we learn about how he died, how sad that shit was, man.
Yeah. Yeah. All the attention and money and prestige. And he was just like in an apartment somewhere by himself alone. Brutal.
Yeah, joined the Marines at 16.
16? How does that happen?
Yeah. You lie about your age, I guess.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Didn't start acting until he was in his 30s.
Yeah, he and I think Dustin Hoffman became really good friends.
Sure. Yeah,
Apparently
I don't know.
Every woman just wants to fuck him based off of every movie we've seen with Gene Hackman. Dude's just like his irresistible charm that I don't understand. But
hey, he bagged like the only eligible lady in Hickory, right? Like,
yeah. And he was like mean to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like negged her.
Yeah. From the start too, their like first interaction on the steps was like he just like making fun of the town, making fun of her as a teacher, just like the school, like wow. All right. And she just wanted him.
Well, he's a little different for whatever reason.
Well,
I mean, the conversation that he's got women throwing themselves at him, the fucking lady in Superman.
Yeah.
Just Gene Hackman.
It's all about swagger, baby, I guess. Should this movie spent so much time on Dennis Hopper and the alcoholic father?
No.
Okay.
No. I thought that was a lot to ask for this movie for them to win the state championship, for Gene Hackman to cure alcoholism and to bag the girl. It seemed like a lot of lifting.
Yeah, it spends a lot of time with Dennis Hopper. I guess I like that it didn't ultimately cure his alcoholism. Maybe it made it worse because he couldn't handle the pressure. So he just passed out while in the middle of the woods, shit-faced, I guess.
But yeah, I learned it's like, so if people don't drink, they like freak out. Like I learned that concept from this movie. Is like the withdrawals.
He's talking about green monkeys or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, hallucinating. Yeah, he's got the down tremors really bad. Oh, it's a full-on crazy detox if you just go cold turkey like that.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like I learned that from this movie.
Well, there it goes. It made it a really central thing. And he says early on to Dennis Hopper, like, if you have even if I spill a whiff of alcohol on your breath, you're done. But he gives it multiple chances, right? I stuck my necks out for you, and he's just trying to smash his face into the water. And didn't you say he was done?
Trying to dry him out.
Right. Well,
maybe during the games he came sober, but then in between games he was just shit-faced.
Yeah, would be.
I love the scenes at his house. It looks so disgusting. It's like some rickety shack out in the woods with fire burning.
That's exactly what it was.
I know.
Yeah, that made perfect sense. Like,
yeah,
more than anything, the
he's
movie
just out there just swigging on a bottle of Jack Daniels out in the woods.
By himself with just a fire going, nothing else.
No electricity,
gas,
probably. Yeah.
Probably no plumbing.
We're gonna buy a house, Dad. You and me.
Well, I assumed the mom and son lived somewhere else. That was my takeaway. They're like, we're done with you, and he just found this some shitty place to be alone and drink. Winters get pretty cold, but I manage. Oh God. Okay. Yeah, it was a really, I would have liked much less of that storyline and more of almost anything. Really, like,
we didn't get enough Jimmy Chitwood. We didn't get enough of his story.
Sure. Show me more about him being a dominant player.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we knew that. I thought the speech that he gives them about not caring about him being on his team, that one where he drains like 13 buckets in a row, I thought that was enough to show that, oh, this guy can shoot. He's a shooter. He's a Steph
on
Curry.
The little dirt patch.
Yeah. Steph Curry.
I guess. I mean,
he really made all those shots too. That was like a one-er take, and he was just draining them.
Yeah, until he said, "I don't need you on my team," or whatever he said.
Yeah, I don't know. Movie it's a weird one. I don't know. It really, like, it just doesn't. I have to not think about the movie at all for it to kind of work.
Well, why do you think it resonates so much with people?
It's just the primordial sports movie. It's the quintessential every sports cliche. Yeah, the team that isn't anything special, down on their luck, outsider comes in his very first year, instantly changes the culture and takes them all the way to the promised land. I mean, it is just can't get any more. Just picture.
Yeah, but isn't this the like original version of that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think there were sports movies that did it before, but maybe this was the first one.
This is the first one that hit the formula.
Like when you think of like a Cinderella team, right? Oh, they're like the Hoosiers, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like a phrase.
Yeah. I mean, it just resonated in the psyche of pop culture, I guess. I don't know, in a way that just it's tough to articulate why. I don't know. I mean, I was 2 in 1986 or whenever this came out, so I don't know, but it was, a surprise hit. And they made a ton of movies that clearly knocked it off. So I don't know.
Did you think the basketball was good? Like
no.
In the movie. It wasn't bad.
Well,
because it was supposed to be 50s.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the 50s. People had weird jump shots and
they weren't dunking, It's not like Will Chamberlain is out there.
Yeah, it felt like the 50s, but that's where, I mean, more that I just didn't have a coherent sense of what was going on. It just felt like listless. I just didn't feel like I really understood the strategy of Hickory and what they were trying to do and what the other team was trying to do. And I like nothing about the dynamics, and I don't know, just felt helter-skelter to me.
We needed an announcer who was like,
sure,
down by 2.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
Sure. Or even Gene Hackman like saying, oh, this is what we're going to do. Or like, it got better when Dennis Hopper was there and there was at least a little bit of strategy talk. Like, this player's really good or this player's doing that. Sometimes they said it in weird slang that I didn't quite understand because they're using early 50s rural Indiana slang. But like, that was where it got a little better. Oh, this guy's been doing this thing all night. Like, none of the other players on the other team had any personality or whatever. They weren't characters. They were basically props, right? We didn't have any dramatic buildup and any strategic buildup. I don't know. It drove me nuts.
What's a good basketball movie, in your opinion? Like, is there one? This is for both of you.
Well,
like
I think
Blue Chips is a pretty... Hoop Dreams, yeah.
Hoop Dreams is probably the best.
And Blue Chips are both better movies than this, I think, but they're different.
Basketball Diaries. That doesn't have very good basketball in it.
Semi-pro is more fun. I don't know if it's better.
Yeah, semi-pro is almost exactly like this one.
I'm trying to think of what even the other basketball movies are. Space Jam is worse. I like this better than Space Jam.
The LeBron one or the?
I've not seen the LeBron one.
Oh, the
but,
LeBron one is much
OG.
worse.
Oh, okay. Then I will never watch the LeBron one. It sounds like.
Yeah. Good choice.
I heard the Ben Affleck one where he's the coach is actually supposed to be pretty good.
Which one's
Came
that?
out a couple of years ago, where he's like an alcoholic, and he's a basketball coach. Something back, the way back maybe.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, it was like an Amazon movie during COVID.
Oh,
supposed to be good.
I don't know. I might like The Air Up There better. I don't know. But I mean, like sports movies, there are a lot that I like better. And I think Major League's a way more fun sports movie, and it's better.
yeah, that was the thing. This hit all the beats, but it wasn't very fun doing it for some reason. It didn't.
I like
have,
Mighty Ducks better.
Yeah, it didn't have the.
Well, so
humor.
those are all sports comedies. Is there like a legit sports drama? Like Rudy is more like a, sports drama. Any given Sunday.
How many basketball sports dramas are there?
No, I'm just saying any sports movie, sports dramas that aren't comedies.
Like Caddyshack?
Yeah, or Happy Gilmore or something like that.
Yeah.
Sure, Bad News Bears. Well, there aren't many that aren't comedies. I mean, it's
The Natural I had mentioned earlier. That one.
Yeah, that's my grandpa's favorite movie. Actually watched it.
I've never seen it.
It's pretty good, except Robert Redford is 48 years old. And he's playing like a teenager at one point.
I've never seen any of those baseball movies. Like, isn't Kevin Costner in like 3 baseball movies too?
You haven't
Bull
seen
Durham's better.
Never seen Bull Durham.
You haven't seen Field of Dreams?
I've definitely seen Field of Dreams.
Okay.
Several times.
But I mean, there aren't a ton of sports dramas. I mean, even something as bombastic as what's Oliver Stone's movie with Al Pacino?
Any given Sunday?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean that I probably like that better. I mean, it's cartoonish almost, but it's at least a little more.
That's a
honest
fun
about
movie.
sports.
Yeah.
Draft Day is worse than this, I would say.
Draft Day.
Is that a sports movie?
Well, I don't know what you'd call Draft Day.
It's a classic.
Call it a classic.
But yeah, Bull Durham's genuinely great, and I think it's a lot better than this.
But isn't Bull Durham kind of a comedy? It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember.
Not a little bit, maybe. I don't know. It's not like Major League. It's not like a overt broad comedy. It's semi-serious. There's some definite sadness to it. Because Kevin Costner's character is a catcher in the minor leagues who loves and knows baseball, but he's just not good enough to be in the pros.
Right.
Remember the Titans?
I probably like that a little. That's better about a coach that comes in.
Moneyball.
These are all movies I probably like better than Hoosiers if it really came down to it. Almost all. There's a few that put Hoosiers ahead of, but not many. I mean, there are just not enough moments. Like one of the moments I thought worked the best was the very end when he's like drawing up the play for the winning shot, and he's going to use Jimmy Chitwood as a decoy. And the players just look at him. He's like, "What's wrong with all of you?" And then they're like, "Oh no, Jimmy's got to take the final shot." He says he made that. Like that was on the one
I'll make it. I'll make it.
That's when I liked it. Right. That was like we get a little bit of what's going on. There's some sort of dynamic and trust. There's a little bit of, I guess, growth on the part of Gene Hackman, like trusting his players a little bit, and not being too stubborn. There aren't just enough of those. Here's the coach talking about what they're going to do, and this is what he sees, and this is how he's using his players, and there's just not enough of that for me in this movie. The basketball just sort of happens wildly. And I guess it is the 50s, so they were allowed to be a lot more physical. I don't know. One guy literally gets shoved and punched. Yeah.
Didn't even get a technical.
Yeah. Didn't do nothing wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I just think there was a
Hackman gets ejected a couple times, though.
You got pigeon shit in your eye?
the Hackman like mad because there's a lot of like interstitial cuts between like Hackman's
Nice word,
reactions.
interstitial. Well done.
The Hackman's reactions to like what's happening on the court. He's always, oh man, his like frustrations. There's like 20 of those. It's like, oh darn it! Like, come on, ref! Like, it just those are my favorite parts of the movie. It's just the cuts to Hackman yelling about what's happening on the court.
Pass it 4 times. Oh,
yeah, he has to dress down the student body. They're like, we want Jimmy when the team comes out, and he has to be like, this is the team you have. Oh man, why do we cheer for these guys again?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Fun pep rally, huh?
Like, goodness gracious. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It feels like, and maybe it just hit the sweet spot of like greatest generation nostalgia plus the very beginning of boomer nostalgia that just kind of wrapped together perfectly to just hit this like sweet spot for people reminiscing about the simplicity of the early 50s. Yeah, there's no shot clock, there's no 3-point line. Things were simpler.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Norman Rockwell painting, but a movie form.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. And it's also just literally they quote the David and Goliath scripture at one point towards the end of the movie, right? So it's just this ultimate upstanding small town boys beat the big town.
So it's like a biblical metaphor, this movie?
Actually.
Is Hackman
sure.
Jesus then? And
maybe.
He just came out of nowhere?
Yeah. Hey, came out of the water, came back from the water.
Yeah. I don't know. I like this movie. You guys are making me like it less. What's up with that?
You've got some criticisms yourself.
No, but I had the feeling, the underdog team beating the better team. I think I honestly think it's a Hackman thing. Like, isn't he always kind of like a bummer? Name a movie where isn't kind of a pain in the ass. And I don't know. I like Hackman a lot, but this to me is like what Hackman is.
Sure. Yeah.
Like even in the conversation, he's frustrating. Like everything about him, he's just like a frustrating guy. He always plays frustrating characters.
He's frustrating as Popeye Doyle in French Connection. I mean, he's a frustrating.
Yes.
Dude. Sure, he's frustrating in Royal Tenenbaums, and I love that performance. But he plays a really frustrating guy who pretends to have cancer.
I think that's his best performance.
It's up there. It's one of. It'd be in there. That one's great. Yeah, he's really good. He's in a spy thriller in the late 90s. Is it Enemy of the State? Is that Hackman?
Yeah.
Even though I don't know that he's a nice guy in it, but I remember liking him in that as well. I like this movie just fine, Eric. I mean, I don't know if we're transitioning to our score, but this movie is a pure vibes movie. Like, it gets by almost exclusively on vibes and nothing else. It's a bit like Mallrats to me, and even Excalibur. It's a movie that really, I don't think actually works underneath the facade. There's a lot of actual problems with it, but it somehow kind of captures the vibes in a way that makes it work, generally speaking. It's kind of how I feel about this movie. I can't think about it because they're going to do, I'm going to be annoyed. Like, what is actually happening here? Do I actually care? But no, you just kind of get caught up in the vibes and the feeling and the trip. I don't know. So I don't hate it. As much as I think this movie deserves a ton of criticism, I don't hate it. It's just, it is not the best sports movie of all time. I would disagree with that assertion. The high expectations you referenced, Kevin. Like, yeah. I saw it and didn't meet those. I just thought, it was fine when I saw it the first time. Like, it's fine.
So do you want to do your ratings?
Sure.
Or was more discussion?
I'm like no, I don't have much else to say. It's like right in the 2.5, 3 range for me. If I were feeling generous, I'd bump it up to a 3. Feeling less generous, I'd go down to 2.5. Because I think it's really more like a 2.6. I just don't love it. There really isn't any actual meat on the bone. It's like all sauce, no wing, almost. frustrates me really if I actually think about this movie, but I still kind of get caught up in the sweeping score. The Jerry Goldsmith score is a huge part. We didn't talk about that, but that I think helps this movie succeed and hit those beats. Get the charm, and the time and place is pitch perfect. I mean, it does feel exactly like this time and place. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I don't hate it. I think it works, but barely.
I'm kind of like where you're at. To me, this, on the surface level, this is a made-for-TV movie style.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I've seen every sports movie there is. To finally watch Hoosiers, it kind of disappointed me in that it wasn't anything special. Nothing really stood out to me as something that was special. Having said that, though, I do think the vibes that you were talking about is a real thing to this movie. And the vibes of having Gene Hackman, I think that elevated it for me. It was like a 2.5 made for TV movie, but I'd give it 3.5. I'll be a little more generous.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a 3.5. I'm like, what did Hopper say, that basketball is the greatest game ever invented? That's where I'm at. So, because it's a good movie about basketball, I'm gonna give it 3.5.
Did you like this better than Air?
Air was more fun. I mean, Air a basketball movie? A different,
maybe not.
Sort of a different genre. That's more like Air is more like BlackBerry, where it's like it's like about an invention. You know, the people that invented something.
Sure, it's
Or
basketball adjacent. It's ultimately a movie about worshiping Michael Jordan, but yeah, no, it's fine. It popped over my head just now. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys like it a little more, but I mean, I found myself rooting and cheering and like, okay, I'm still there, even though this movie doesn't. I don't think it actually passes scrutiny, really. Like, I'm still getting swept up in the moment. I'm still getting excited to watch them win the big game.
It's like a breezy movie too, right? Isn't it pretty short?
Hour 45, I think.
Yeah, hour 54 is what it says.
Yeah, they had to cut it down
to
fit 2 hours.
It feels breezy. I don't know. I liked it. I like rewatching it. You know, it's March Madness time. Got me in the mood.
Sure,
some b-ball.
It's fine. I mean, you know what you're getting. Nobody's going to be surprised with it. When it starts, you're like along for the ride, and it works. All right, so on to next week. We'll start with the year of our Lord, 1975.
That was the year I was born, sir.
Great year. I'll go ahead and do the director. I don't know. This may be too much information too quickly. It just depends. The director is Arthur Penn. If that doesn't help, Arthur Penn is the man who directed Bonnie and Clyde in 1967 with like Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. That's the director of the movie.
I don't know.
It is on Roger Ebert's great movies list. That's another little clue. One of Roger Ebert's great movies. That might help narrow it down for Kevin, maybe. Early performance by James Wood, and it's Melanie Griffith in her film debut.
It's that Working Girl, right? Working Girl's way later than that.
That's
it's
like
later.
85 or 86.
Yeah. No, Melanie Griffith is like, I think it was 16 at the time of shooting, which complicated things for reasons we'll get into later, I'm sure. I'll also give you the stars, Gene Hackman. I was inspired by the consecutive Gene Hackman choices. So,
oh my gosh,
is it Night Moves?
Night Moves.
It is. Yep.
I've never seen this. This has been one I've wanted to watch for a while. So,
yeah, I watched it a long time ago as part of just going through Roger Ebert's. I barely remember it. The setup
it's like
is
a
just
thriller, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a neo-noir thriller. He's a private investigator who gets into some shit. That's the setup.
That was great.
I'm sure there's a chance you'll like it, Eric. I hope it's not a movie you'll at least obviously hate from the get-go. And I don't know, Kevin, have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it.
Does Gene Hackman sing in most of this movie?
Yeah, it's actually a musical. It's a neo-noir musical. And actually it's opera. There's not a single line of dialogue. Everything is sung. So
perfect.
How about it?
Well, it's a tight 99 minutes.
No, it's not long. I remember almost nothing about it. I remember vaguely liking it, but I'm way due for a rewatch. And I had somewhere else I was going to go, but you both picked Gene Hackman movies, and I felt like, all right, I had to complete the cycle. We're going to just do a
Gene
mini
Hackman spring
sampling. Neither of you have seen it. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm looking forward to it. There's not, you have to pay. Sorry, dude. Like, I don't think it's streaming anywhere. It is going to cost $4 to watch it. Sorry.
Well, that's quite all right. Night Moves. Arthur Penn. What other movies you say he directed?
Bonnie and Clyde is one of the big, like, new wave, new Hollywood. Was one of those movies that, because it's so violent. In '67, it was so much more violent than a mainstream movie had been. He directed, I think it's just as a Big Man, the Dustin Hoffman movie. Alice's Restaurant is another one. So he had this run in the late '60s to the mid '70s. I know you haven't heard of those. Those are probably the most famous movies he had. And then, I mean, he will, I think, taper off from here. But those movies that wasn't loved at the time that people have come around to.
Is the Bob Seger song Night Moves in the movie Night Moves?
I don't think so. I think Night Moves, the song, came out just after this movie. I thought about using that as a clue, actually. I decided not to. Yeah, looking forward to it. Okay. Eric, I hope you see a new movie that you like and you don't hate it. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Although I think we already know Hackman's probably not going to be a super pleasant dude.
Yeah, I can already kind of tell. I'm going to have to enjoy it despite Gene Hackman, I think.
So, wow, you're becoming a Hackman hater. Uh-oh.
I don't know. I've always said I had a complicated relationship with Hackman.
Interesting.
Because I think he's a really good actor. But he is kind of always Gene Hackman.
Well, this might be the worst time to watch it then, since you already Hackmaned out a little bit. But
no. I've wanted to watch this for a while, so it's all good.
So this is right after the conversation. He goes into Night Moves. Okay.
No, we haven't talked about Hackman in Unforgiven. That's another one.
Or he's Crimson Tide, right? I mean,
he's pretend charming in Unforgiven, but he's not actually charming.
Quick and the Dead.
Yeah, he's pretend charming in that one too.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. This will be my last Hackman pick for a while, but I was like, all right.
No,
I'm calling it.
I didn't tell you guys. This is the new format of the podcast. It's only Gene Hackman movies.
Oh man, gonna cause Eric to spiral. All right. Well, the Night Moves next week. You heard it here.
Bye.
Bye.